Okay, so welcome to lesson 4, the first visit. So today we're going to be talking about what you need to do leading up to your first visit, during your first visit, and after your first visit. So each one of these things can be done in stages. So before the visit, the first stage is to message the seller. Pretty much every app has this just pre-written out for you, but you're going to ask whether or not the horse is still available. If it is, you are going to let them know that you're very interested. Ask a few questions such as, do you think that a beginner can handle this horse? Other things similar to that, or just following up on information they don't include in the ad.
If you're satisfied with the way they answered the questions, now it's time for you to schedule a visit. The main advice I have for you during this segment is just to be very polite and kind and understanding to the seller.
The final stage is a day before or maybe 2 days before, request a few things from the seller. You do not want that horse to be caught before they get there, and you do not want that horse to be worked before they get there. Now, caught might not be an option, especially if the horse lives in a stall, but it's good to request it just because those two things happening before you get there can disguise issues.
Okay, so now it's time for stage 2, the visit. So first thing you're going to want to do is when you walk up, notice a few things about the horse. The first thing is whether or not the horse is sweaty. That means they were worked beforehand, and that could mean that something is going on that they wanted to work out before you saw them ride. Secondarily is whether or not they have any swollen limbs. That could mean underlying injuries, or could mean swollen is always a bad thing, but it's always something to follow up on and request the seller give more information about. If they don't have a really good explanation, this is sort of the hugest red flag in the universe of red flags. So during the riding portion, we're going to be looking for 3 big things. So the first thing you're going to be looking for is lameness. So you're looking for limping, short striding, any of the things that can point to a bigger issue being there. You're going to want to look for small and big behaviors for misbehavior. So bucking and rearing are examples of big behaviors. Those are big no's. But there's the smaller behaviors like them picking up speed really quickly and the rider having to slow them down, and spooking. So just watch out for that. Another thing you're going to be looking for is rider control. Can the rider that is riding the horse control the horse easily, or are they having to excessively pull at the mouth, or are they unable to stop misbehavior that the horse is doing, whether it be big behavior or small behavior? Okay, if you were satisfied with how the previous rider, owner, seller rode the horse, then you get to decide whether or not you're going to ride the horse. Now, obviously don't assume that you can. Request it from the seller and be very nice if they say no. Oh, it is sort of a red flag if they say no, just putting that out there right now. Okay, so let's assume that you got permission from the seller and you decide you wanted to ride. Now what? Easy to say, hard to do. You're going to decide whether or not you can control that horse and whether or not that horse is for you. I know it's a lot to gather from one ride, but unless you're buying from a family friend, they're probably not going to want you to come back out and ride over and over and over again to decide whether or not you want the horse. So during this part, take your time, walk them around enough. If you feel uneasy at a walk, don't put them to a trot. If you feel uneasy at a trot, don't put them to a lope. Just make sure you're very careful and watching how the horse reacts to everything. This is the easiest stage and the hardest stage. This is where you decide, do you want the horse? Think about what you were looking for in a horse and decide whether or not you think that horse could be it. Think about the maintenance the horse might need, and finally, make your decision. Do you want to move forward with the horse? If y'all have any follow-up questions, make sure to comment them down below and I will make a video so that you can get the answer to your question. Okay, now it's time for some rapid fire tips. Make sure to record a video under saddle at a walk, trot, and lope of the seller riding. Obviously you can't record up on the saddle. Make sure to record a video of a walk, trot on the ground. Make sure to feel up and down their legs for any warmth and swelling, and most of all, be careful. You don't know this horse, you don't know their triggers, so if you feel uneasy about something, ask the seller to do it first, or ask the seller whether or not it's a good idea. That is all for lesson 4. See y'all in lesson 5.